For today, I thought I would look at August 26th, and with the chaos we're all having, centered in history on war, art, equality, and peace. Starting in 1346, the 100 Years' War between England and France ended, establishing the military supremacy of England with its longbow over the armored knights of France at the Battle of Crécy. In 1498, Michelangelo was commissioned to carve the Pietà. Haven't heard much about it in the news unless I'm just missing it in the newspapers or on TV. But August 26th is the day we celebrate Women's Equality Day nationally, commemorating the 1920 adoption of the 19th Amendment to the US Constitution, barring any state or federal government from banning vote based on sexuality, or sex, I should say. And in 1945, happy peace, the Japanese diplomats boarded our USS Missouri to sign the peace treaty to end that war. So with those things in mind, let's keep in our thoughts and prayers all those suffering, the tragedy of war, Afghanistan, events especially of today, earthquakes, fires, the effects of COVID, deaths, anxiety, depression, and in particular, keep in our thoughts and prayers our Rotary president, Nancy McCready. And at the district breakfast, they announced that our governor, Goody Javid, had or just contacted COVID. And we should reach out to all of these people who are hurting, speaking of love and peace and service to all, which even our speaker will be addressing today. And let's not think of the negativity in the world today. I found it kind of interesting that the events on this date are kind of all in the news again. Maybe our world hasn't changed all that much. But let's be positive. Let us welcome obstacles, for they alone can tougher your character and make your faith stronger. That was a saying by Baba. And the homeboy member this morning for August 26th, after serving 2 jail terms and working and rehabilitating at Homeboy Industries in downtown LA, had this thought, which we should all keep in mind as we spread our love and serve. Appreciate what you have. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mike. That was great. Really appreciate that. All right, moving through our agenda. Right, actually moving. That's interesting. Seems to not want a resume slideshow. Okay, thank you. All right, song of the day from past President Ed Gall. Ed, would you like to lead us in today's song?
Yeah, my voice is not 100%. I'll give it a shot. I thought to commemorate. Unfortunately, there's been something going on in Baghdad, but to commemorate the airlift that has been going on. And I have the Air Force song. I remember the US Air Force as the Army Air Force. And interesting, in the third line, it talks about zooming. So the zooming really no, don't laugh. The zooming started with the Air Force.
Right, incidental.
Off we go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sun. Here they come, zooming to me, thunder, and a boys, give him the gun. Down we dive, spouting our flame from under, with one hell of a roar. We live in fame, we go down in flame. Hey, nothing will stop the Army Air Force.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Ed. Thank you very much. Okay, I don't think we have any visiting Rotarians or guests. Our speaker will be joining us, I understand, at 12:45. I think it's going to be actually 2 individuals who will be our speakers today. Otherwise, I don't think we have any guests today. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we do. Okay, moving on. Oops, let me just close this thing right here. It is open. Okay, paging down. It's locking up again. Oh, there we go. Announcements. Mike alluded to the district breakfast this week on Tuesday morning by Zoom. It was an excellent district breakfast. I have to say, arguably one of the best district breakfasts I've quote unquote been to. Yeah, Gidi Javid, our district governor, shared that she came down with COVID and seems like she's doing fine. Maybe the symptoms of a bad cold, which we all hope it just is limited to a bad cold. She went on a club visit and I guess was exposed to somebody with COVID there, and she came down with it. Her husband didn't, which is a blessing, but she's on the mend. So we all pray for her speedy recovery. We had during that session, Dr. Angelique Campion. She's a member, I think, of Wilshire Rotary. I'm not quite sure the Rotary Club, but she actually spoke to us last year about COVID near the front end of, I think, back in April. I might have even been hosting that meeting or presiding over it. And so she actually has been appointed to a new position at the district. She's the COVID-19 liaison or
Advisor, I think.
Advisor. Thank you, Gordon. And so she shared some, again, very helpful hints regarding COVID and dealing with it and the Delta variant. Very interesting. And again, I recommend going back and hunting down that recording.
I can't get it.
Program. And the speaker, main speaker was Mark Zandi, who's the chief economist for Moody's Analytics, and he was great. So all in all, that was just a wonderful district. As we announced last week, we've deferred in-person meetings until November 4th. So we'll be zooming on the 9th. I believe Tom Barron will be hosting. We have a social event coming up, a wine tasting at the Gainers, hosted by PP and IP Chris and Rose. I love that, PP and IP, past president and incoming president Chris and Rose Gaynor. Thank you, Chris.
Steve, let me interrupt. That is not official yet. I have not heard from Chris Gaynor as a positive. We haven't declared that official yet.
Okay, well, we're tentatively, there's a tentative stamp right across there, boom, right across there. The foundation celebration is on. It's a live event right now. It's an in-person event. It's on Saturday, November 6th at the Skirbo Cultural Center, which many of you know is very dear and near to me. It was a client of mine almost from its inception to the time I retired. And for a period of time prior to COVID, I was actually doing docent work up at the Skirbo. So it's very special that they're going to be there. I hope that maybe they'll give you an opportunity to tour the Skirbo. It's a wonderful institution for those of you who haven't been there yet. But again, it'll be on the 6th of November. And raffle tickets, they haven't sent them out yet. I should get them for our club next month. I hope so. This time last year, we got the tickets already. So they're trying to come up with maybe a different methodology. It was a little bit cumbersome last year, but we'll see. We should have the tickets in early September. And also they're looking for silent auction items. And so it should be a wonderful evening. They also announced the date of the 2022 humanitarian trip to Puerto Rico, District 5280's humanitarian trip. And that's going to be April 18th through the 23rd of 2022. So those are some announcements. If there's anyone else who has an announcement they want to share, please step up and share that announcement with the club. I'll take that as being no more announcements. Okay, moving on. Today, as your foundation chair, I want to make a presentation, or actually two presentations. I don't know if Allie's on yet. I hope she is. Allie, you out there?
I'm here.
Oh, hi, Allie.
Hi. I'm on my phone. Sorry, because my
Oh,
computer.
no worries. I only have a few faces on the right, and I didn't see everyone. So again, as your foundation chair, I'm coming to you to make a presentation of some multiple Paul Harris Fellows to past President Dick Thompson, a Paul Harris +6, and he'll get one ruby on his new pin, which I sent out to both Allie and to Dick their pins. And Allie will be getting her +2, 2 sapphires. So today we have the privilege of recognizing past presidents, Dick and Allie, for their wonderful contribution to the Rotary Foundation. Dick and Ally, your contributions to the foundation are allaying suffering, improving living conditions, and providing educational opportunities for the young people somewhere in the world. Your gifts are truly selfless actions and demonstrate your commitment to our common goals of world understanding and peace. Therefore, on behalf of the President of Rotary International and the Chairman of the Trustees of the Rotary Foundation, it gives me great pleasure to present to each of you your Paul Harris pins. Congratulations on behalf of the Rotary Foundation and your club. Thank you very much. Big hand for both of you.
Thank you very much, Steve. We'll obviously wear that with a lot of pride,
Thank
as
you.
we always do with Rotary. Thank you so much.
Congratulations once again. Congratulations, Ally. Okay, moving on. Okay.
Thank you. I received my pin. It was lovely.
Oh, great, great, great. I'm so happy to hear that. All right, it looks like Mr. Newman stole a little bit of my thunder. When I was president, I would have what happened on this day. And so I put it together. One that Mike picked up was on 1920, the 19th Amendment. But in 1883, interestingly, the Krakatoa volcano began its final eruption. It started on the 26th and ended on the 27th. It destroyed over 70% of the island. An interesting fact about it is actually west of Java, not east. In 1968, they came out with a movie called Krakatoa, East of Java. No, it was west of Java. Bad mistake. 1978, Albino Luciani was elected Pope John Paul I. Surprised Mr. Newman didn't pick up on that one. Unfortunately, sadly, Pope John Paul I passed away about a month later, and Pope John Paul II became Pope. A little interesting fact about Albino Luciani, he's the last Italian Pope. The next three have all been non-Italians. Pope John Paul II was Polish. Pope Benedict XVI is German, and Pope Francis is Argentine. Births on this day, a little touch of the Catholic faith today. Mother Teresa was born in 1910 in what is now Macedonia. She won her Nobel Peace Prize in 1979. In 1935, Geraldine Ferraro, a native New Yorker, was the first female vice president candidate from a major political party. That was 1984. She ran with Walter Mondale, and they lost in a big landslide. Reagan, Bush defeated him, first Bush. I think, oh my gosh, I think it was almost like 46 states, 47 states, plus it was just a major landslide. In 1989, James Harden, for those of you who don't follow basketball too much, James is an NBA All-Star and an Olympic gold medalist in 2012. He was supposed to be on the team this year, but due to injury, he couldn't. But it's probably one of his most notable things about him is he has a nice big full beard. But he is a great basketball player. Sadly, folks have passed away on this day. In 1974, Charles Lindbergh passed away. As we all know, he was the first person to fly solo from Roosevelt Field on Long Island, and landed at Paris in 1927. In 2004, Laura Branigan passed away. I don't know if anyone out there could tell me, she was an 80s pop star, what her most famous song is. Can anyone jump in and tell me what Laura Branigan sang that was iconic? I always liked this song. It's really an upgoing song.
I can hear her voice, but I can't think of it. Someone help. Gloria!
Thank you, Laura. She passed away sadly in 2004 of a brain aneurysm. She was 52, just a kid.
Thank you, Laura.
Laura was a great song. She had some other hits from the 80s too. And then moving on, 2018, playwright, screenwriter, TV writer Neil Simon passed away. He's probably known most as a playwright. Odd Couple, Breakfast in the Park. He was a lot of iconic plays from the mid-century. Besides that, he was also a writer for TV. I think I wrote playwright wrong. Gordon, I'm surprised you didn't pick up on that. Anyway, and he was on Sid Caesar. He, along with Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner and Woody Allen, all wrote for wrote for Sid Caesar. So he was he passed away in 2018. So I think I don't know. Is our speaker here, John?
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes,
Okay.
she's here. Mhm.
I'm going to move on now. I'm going to turn the reins over to Mr. O'Keefe, who I understand is somewhere in the woods of Wisconsin, to introduce our speakers today. John, you're on.
Hello, everybody. From northern Wisconsin, 48 degrees latitude. It's about equal with Minneapolis. Anyway, it's a great opportunity for me to introduce Sandra Molina and Carey McCarthy from the Volunteer Services Department at the Ronald Reagan Medical Center. Patty and I are volunteers at UCLA Reagan, and we feel that the volunteer operation there runs just as well, just like a well-oiled machine. And by the way, I should mention one other thing before I go to the introduction. We sang the Air Force song today, and I hope you recall last Thursday's meeting, Susan Fitzgerald Rice's husband, Donald Rice, was the Secretary of the Air Force during the first Bush administration. Sandra Molina is the volunteer coordinator at the Ronald Reagan Medical Center. Before joining Reagan, she worked at Santa Monica UCLA for a number of years. And she joined the volunteer services team there in 2011, where she's had the opportunity to recruit hundreds of volunteers from various professional backgrounds to serve as volunteers. Sandra is joined today by her boss, Carey McCarthy, the director of the Volunteer Services Department, where she oversees 3,500 volunteers, including the hospital volunteers at both Reagan and Santa Monica, as well as lab and research volunteers. She has a particular enjoyment in the patient services programs. She has a master's degree in public health and enjoys developing new programs that will enhance the patient exposure. We should all be aware that the UCLA Reagan Hospital has just been chosen by, I believe, US News and World Report as the third best hospital in the United States and the best in California. This is right here in our own neighborhood. What a blessing we have. So now I'd like to ask Sandra and Carey to get started, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. And it's thank you for inviting us here today, Sandra and myself. It's a pleasure to see you all here today. And we appreciate you giving us the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about our volunteer program. And thank you, John, for all your service for many, many years. We're so fortunate to have you and your wife in our program. So we have a thriving volunteer program, as John said, that is at both of our hospitals in Westwood, the Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center, as well as our Santa Monica Hospital. We have dozens of roles that volunteers assist with. And Sandra and I particularly like all of our patient service programs. Over the past few years, we've developed all sorts of programs, really utilizing the talent from the community. Sandra has a presentation for you, but we have volunteer musicians that come and play music for both the staff and the patients. We have an art cart where we bring around art kits. This was particularly beneficial when we were in the real intense days of COVID and patients didn't have visitors and were really so bored. We provided just dozens and dozens of art kits. We have a birthday program where we celebrate patient birthdays. We're starting a new sleep cart to help aid patients so that they can sleep and get their rest while they're here in the hospital. So we have a very large, extensive program, and it's always developing and considering new programs and so forth. So I'm going to hand it over to Sandra because she has some visuals for all of you to see and can explain a little more in detail. So Sandra.
Thank you, Carey, and thank you, John, for this special invitation. It's really an honor to be with you all here today. You guys are also an extraordinary group, so thank you, Westwood Village Rotary Club, for the invitation, and I'm excited to present the PowerPoint. I'm going to share my screen now. Okay, and can you all see that?
Nope, not yet,
Not yet, Sandra.
not yet.
There it is.
There we are. There we are.
Okay. So UCLA Health Volunteer Services Program, yes, and as mentioned by John, I've been at the Ronald Reagan Medical Center for the past 10 years. Initially started as the office manager and was able to meet so many wonderful volunteers, and now have been the volunteer coordinator for the past 5 years, and it's been an absolute wonderful experience. And so I want to also share with you our mission, vision, and values. Our mission is delivering leading edge patient care research and education. Our vision is healing humankind one patient at a time by improving health, alleviating suffering, and delivering acts of kindness. And our values are compassion, respect, excellence, discovery, integrity, and teamwork. And definitely our volunteers do assist us with delivering those acts of kindness with their support and contributions that they provide for our patients. And the volunteer program at UCLA began in 1955, just a few months after the medical center in Westwood officially opened. And so we're very happy to share these wonderful historical pictures from our volunteers. And here we are currently, still growing strong, having many wonderful individuals from the community from all walks of life, as I previously mentioned, alumni. John has been with our program for over 20 years and his wife Patty for close to 40. So it's absolutely just a all around remarkable program. We have student volunteers, research, retirees. And so what I focus, my role is to work with the non-students, now currently known as the ambassador volunteers. And so this is a program designed for individuals that are no longer enrolled in school and who wish to volunteer as a way of giving back or for personal self-fulfillment. So I want to share the current volunteer opportunities that we have available at the Reagan Medical Center. As mentioned, unfortunately, due to COVID, we had to pause our program and for over a year. And so it was very challenging, but as of March of this year, we were bringing back our volunteers to first assist us in the frontline areas, which are extremely crucial and important for our visitors that are coming in. It's, the first point of contact, and we are very proud to, always practice our best practices with our patients, our family members, and staff. So the information volunteers are the first point of contact with visitors or entering the hospital, and volunteers act as a concierge for the hospital. They provide information and assistance by checking in the visitors and directing them to the correct location. Volunteers must be comfortable with multitasking while using a computer and checking visitors in. And, for this type of assignment, I many people want to come in and have, it's a hospital, they want to be by the bedside with, the patient, which unfortunately right now, because of, COVID, we're not fully ready to reopen this program completely. But I do want to say that from one of our very own volunteers, she shared that oftentimes it's the family members that are very stressed and, concerned. So they're coming in and, they're anxious, they want to see the patient. And, with COVID and all these visitor regulation policies, our frontline volunteers have done an extraordinary job with easing that, suffering and just reassuring the family members so that when they're able to go and visit the patient, they're comforted, and then they're able to pass that on to the patient. So I thought it was very important that she mentioned that, because I feel it's absolutely true. I think any volunteer position here makes a big impact on all. So if you're interested in this type of volunteer work, this is a position that is open 7 days a week. The hours are between 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and volunteers are required to work a minimum of a 4-hour shift. And as you can see, our frontline volunteers have the blue blazer jacket that is provided to you by the department. We also have volunteer opportunities at our outpatient clinics over at the 200 Medical Plaza Information Desk. Also very similar, but just a little different as far as the type of patients. These are patients that are coming in for their outpatient visits. So some volunteers describe this position as sort of being the 405 freeway where, there's constant traffic. And so volunteers are there again, providing directions to outpatient clinics, assisting with escorting visitors or to the correct location. And also there are patients that need assistance with requesting their transportation once they're done with their appointments. So volunteers are there to assist with that by calling taxi service or whatever form of transportation the patient needs. And just like the information desk at Reagan, this position, this is open Monday through Friday between the hours of 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So the volunteer would work a 4-hour shift between those hours. Another very common and popular area that is requested amongst our volunteers is the surgical waiting area. So I'm pretty sure we've all at some point have been on the other spectrum, right? So volunteers that come into this position are compassionate and understanding, and they are there to support the hospitality services staff by assisting the family members with their loved ones that are in surgery. Volunteers support the staff by also escorting the family members to their destination, conducting family rounds, checking in with the family members. We have a basket that we have filled up with tissues that really do, going back to offering those acts of kindness, a little pack of tissue goes a long way, water bottles, or perhaps while they're waiting, we can offer a crossword puzzle. So just checking in and rounding and just assuring that, they are on top of it and that will provide any updates when they become available. So for this area, because it is a very high stressed, demanding position, we want volunteers to be extra friendly, polite, oriented, computer literate. Our volunteers will have access to view our hospital census to be able to provide updates to the family members. And so we are looking for volunteers that are comfortable with technology and computer literate. Let's see. Another program that we have is the floater. So if you want to assist with clerical administrative assignments, the floater program, you are assigned to the volunteer services department. So we provide you with our day-to-day operations. And so let you know what is to be covered during the time that you're here. We deliver patient mail, flower packages, deliveries, and we also have our Times Digest that we print for patients that want to be able to have a physical, you know, not just the iPad or be on their phone, but to have some material to read. We also have our volunteers assist us with walk-ins, phone inquiries, data entry organizing, and so forth. And as Carey mentioned earlier, with our birthday box program, we also have our volunteers assist us with putting the birthday boxes together. We have a teddy bear, stress balls, a lot of good things that we provide to comfort our patients. And so it's just wonderful to have the volunteers assist us in the office. It kind of feels like we're a very close knit family here to support each other. The Kindness Card is one of our newer programs, and it's been an absolute remarkable experience for the volunteers. And what it is a staff recognition and acknowledgement program created by Volunteer Services and the Office of Community to recognize employees for their hard work, especially during, you know, the pandemic and now it's, you know, and beyond. The volunteer rounds with the card, you can see the little image there. And so the card goes out once a week and we visit different departments within the hospital. So it's a great way to connect with, you know, and with the staff members, the nurses, get to see them. And so they're just very appreciative of having this card come around. That with snacks or personal care items, it kind of feels like the ice cream truck service coming in. It just brightens everyone's faces to know that, you know, we are thinking of them and that we support them and that we truly value what they're doing to keep our patients, you know, healthy and safe. And it's just been a very remarkable program. It's I think one of the favorites at the moment because, you know, giving and just receiving all of that, you know, thank you and just kindness all around, it just fills you up in a whole different level. So this has been very successful program. And so we ask from our volunteers from time to time in order to be able to continue with these services is to also, you know, request from our volunteers that if they could possibly donate certain items for the kindness card. And so that's another way in which our volunteers can support and assist us with our programs. We also have the Creative Arts Program, and this is a patient-related position. Volunteers share the positive benefits of art and other healing activities by rounding rooms and outpatient areas, spending time with patients at the bedside if the patient wishes to have a little bit of company, and if hopefully, you know, some of you have some very special talents or artistic talents. It's been a wonderful way for the patient who oftentimes is here for an extended amount of time, from weeks to sometimes months, if they're waiting on an organ transplant. You know, they're alone, they may not even have that many visitors that are able to come and stay with them. So this just absolutely boosts up the patient's morale and, you know, and brings comfort, and again, in both ways. So, you know, anything we've had volunteers do, collages to sketching, and also the mandala have been very popular. It's very soothing, and it's a great stress reliever. So patients can spend hours coloring. And so this is another wonderful program for our patient-centered areas. And next slide is our patient escort department. So if you like to be on the move, patient escorts volunteer experience throughout the entire hospital. The duties include assisting with discharges, assisting in transfers and escorting patients to designated areas as needed. Oftentimes when patients are discharged, they might need to stop down, to the pharmacy level to pick up any prescription medications. And so volunteers are there to assist. And it's also a great way to interact with the staff members at the medical center. This position is available 24 hours, 7 days a week. So it's one of our more flexible areas for those maybe that are working full-time Monday through Friday and don't have, a whole lot of time. You can come in the evening hours as you wish. And it's also minimum of a 4-hour requirement. So there are more programs. These were just a few to mention, which are our current needs that we have at the hospital currently, but we always welcome our volunteers if they have any ideas of if they would like to start a new program to provide us, suggestions. And so then we try to come up with new programs to support our patients and family needs. Hopefully, as we continue to put this COVID, or I don't know how much longer, we'll be under this situation with the current pandemic, but, slowly but surely we will resume more areas so that we can offer more volunteer opportunities for you. But as of now, these are the immediate needs for the hospital. So we are looking to have our volunteers return that had to go on leave once the pandemic started, and hopefully welcome more volunteers to join the program. And so the application and volunteer requirements are listed here. So the first thing, if you're interested, my contact information is here, my phone number, and you can download an application from our volunteer services website at uclahealth.org/volunteer. You would scroll down and click on the golden tab to download the non-student volunteer application. We require our applicants to complete and pass a criminal background check, which is an online application process. And then we also have to have you complete a medical screening, which involves a quantiferin TB test. We do blood titers. We check that you are immune to measles, mumps, rubella, varicella. We also ask that you receive your seasonal flu vaccine. And at this time, we are also verifying if you've had your COVID vaccinations to volunteer in the program, especially if you are going to have, direct patient interaction. And so the minimum commitment is to volunteer 100 hours within 6 months. So what that means is that you would be committing to coming in once a week and working a minimum of a 4-hour shift per week. And depending on, the department and the assignment, then we would coordinate your schedule with your immediate supervisor. And the process generally takes anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks to fully onboard a volunteer. It is a lot of, the requirements that we have to have before you begin the program. And in addition to completing our training and going over our orientation guide from our website and additional documents as well. But it's well worth it. As you can see, John has been a member for many years, and we have other volunteers that have also been in the program for 10, 15 plus. I mean, I feel like a newbie when I say that I've been here for 10 years. It's just wonderful to have the different, these individuals be committed to supporting the hospital. And so hopefully, you were interested in any of these positions, and we'll be happy to welcome you into the program and assure that you complete all the necessary requirements. And that concludes my presentation. So hopefully, if you have any questions or comments at this point, I'll be happy to answer.
Well, thank you very much, Sandra. Wonderful presentation. Thank you, Carey. Do we have any questions? John, maybe you can share a few comments about your experience with the program.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I was just gonna say a couple things about the, I might call them the practical benefits of being a volunteer at Reagan that we have found through the years. Patty and I both work out of the chaplain's office, and UCLA long ago realized that there's a spiritual aspect to healing. So we go into a patient's rooms and visit with them. Anyway, one of the practical aspects I find about it is that you really get used to going in hospitals. I think many people, if not most, don't like going in hospitals. Maybe they're afraid of getting some sickness or something like that. Well, sooner or later, we're all going to have to go into hospitals to visit family members or friends or what have you. You get used to it. That's helpful. Another thing about it is it's completely safe. I've worked there for over 20 years and Patty close to 40 years. Neither of us can think of a time when we suffered some illness from our hospital visiting. Many rooms that we enter, we have to gown up, not all, but many, or mask up or gloved up. And we've never gotten any illness out of that at all, and out of those experiences. And lastly, and probably most importantly, if you try this kind of volunteering or any kind of volunteering, you're liable to get hooked on it. Because you know it's a real feel-good job. And that's okay. It feels good sometimes or always, I think, to help other people. So anyway, I hope some of you would consider being a volunteer at Reagan in various areas that Sandra spoke about here.
Yes, thank you, John. And absolutely, I completely agree. Especially, I feel that after what we have all experienced with this pandemic and being home, our volunteers greatly missed, coming in on a weekly basis, like you said, to help, to support. They truly missed it. And I feel that coming back from the pandemic, it just kind of made everyone realize like the importance, right? That we are all in this together and that we are here to heal each other, and just, I'm pretty sure over the years, John, you've made lots of new friends and just, you share the same values with other individuals. And I think it's a wonderful thing, especially during this times, is that we all just stay connected and share the common goal to heal humankind, because we never know when any of us can be on the other end. And it's this is the last place that anyone wants to be in, right? But we are very grateful that we do have the individuals that are here to provide their support and compassion, and that they really do take pride in being a part of this wonderful organization and this exceptional program. I just absolutely have wonderful things to say from our volunteers. I don't think we would be able to function properly without them. We noticed that, during the pandemic, we at the volunteer office had to do a lot of the duties and assignments that we would, rely on our volunteers on. So as well as the medical team. So once our volunteers started coming in, it was like they felt like celebrities returning to the hospital. So I think, it's a minimum commitment. We ask that you complete at least 100 hours, but of course you're welcome to volunteer for as long as you like. And I think, 2 to 4 hours a week, if you have the time available, will definitely go a long way. So thank you.
Thanks again, Sandra. I have a couple of questions. If somebody's interested in volunteering over at Santa Monica Hospital, how do they go about doing that?
Yes, so we also have a volunteer office over at the Santa Monica location, and Elaine Eastwood, who unfortunately was not able to join us today, oversees the volunteer program in Santa Monica. So on our website, you can select the facility that you wish to volunteer in. So there is the Ronald Reagan, and then you can also select Santa Monica, and you would submit your application directly to the Santa Monica location to be onboarded and processed by the manager at Santa Monica.
Got it. My other question is, I alluded earlier that I've been a docent up at Skirville Cultural Center. And as part of our program as a docent, it's not, they also have a volunteer program up at Skirville, but they do have activities for the docents and also for the volunteers. Kind of an opportunity for the volunteers to get to know each other, maybe have speakers, maybe have a luncheon, just to kind of, you know, build a team, so to speak. Do you guys have that at Reagan as well? Something along those lines?
Yes, what we have are, so what, well, depending on like the department that you're assigned to, right? So we have a large volunteer program. So each department, so for example, the information desk will have their departmental meetings, and then so they'll probably bring in like a special guest speaker. Here at the volunteer office as well, every year we have a volunteer luncheon for our volunteers, and so that's once a year, but it's a great opportunity for our volunteers to come together and meet. And then, you know, establish that relationship from there. And we're also working on just coming up with more ideas to, you know, have guest speakers or have like these get-togethers or gatherings. We've tried to do we've had like a breakfast for volunteers, or sometimes like during, let's say, for example, Valentine's Day, we have treats, you know, where the volunteers can come in, socialize. It's just, you know, a little difficult because everyone's schedule is different and volunteers come in on different days. But, you know, we do try to engage the volunteers, you know, to come together as, you know, much as possible and with any opportunity that we get. Carey, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, Sandra, thank you. Well, we always celebrate National Volunteer Week, which is generally held in April. We have some type of festivities during the week. A lot of the, you know, offerings from the hospital are also extended to the volunteers. You know, free flu vaccines, and usually it's very early in the season. We have availability. Our volunteers were among the first to get the COVID vaccines when they weren't even out, you know, really in the public yet. Our volunteers were very happy that they were able to get that vaccine early on. We always remember your birthday with a special treat, and yeah, so we do things throughout the year.
Great.
And I also want to mention that we offer parking. Right? Parking is such a
Oh, yeah.
That's a great
hot commodity.
Yeah, it's great. Steve Scherer, you have a question.
Yes, great presentation. For several years, my wife Debbie and our dog Peaches were part of the Pet Partners program. What's the status of that program?
I remember Peaches. So that's the People Animal Connection program. They are slowly reactivating in the hospital. There are a handful of teams that are back visiting their units. The staff are thrilled to have them back. So they're back in small numbers right now. We're, you know, as I said, we're still in a transition stage, but they hold pet visit stations, and we do have a few of the teams back visiting the units. So, so more to come.
What do you have any comment about how valuable it is to have interaction between patients and dogs or other pets?
It's a magical experience. Absolutely. The pets and the volunteers are they just bring in a different type of, I feel like, magic to our patients. Even when they come here and they visit us at the volunteer office, they're remarkable. They definitely bring something special to the healing and comfort. And I want to share, we had a volunteer whose spouse had to be in the ICU, and he loved poodles so much, and so we were able to contact a PAC team to come and visit her spouse, and I feel like it's just that connection with the animal, and just totally brightened his day, and honestly feel like it helps with the healing process. Absolutely. It's just one of our it's a remarkable program. I mean, all of our volunteers, and even if you're doing and helping with clerical support, I mean, you really do come and make a difference, but it's definitely something special, very special about the people animal connection. And so we're very happy to have our volunteers returning and hope to have more teams come back soon.
Great. Any other questions from, Tom Barron?
Do you, Sandra, do you require your volunteers to be vaccinated?
At this time, we're bringing back the volunteers that were previously with our program before the pandemic. So most of these volunteers were able to get their vaccination, so they have it on hand. Our policy, it's not finalized, and so we're not sure, maybe Carey.
Yeah, we just had a meeting this morning regarding, so volunteers at some point will be able to request an exemption, and then it has to go before a review committee. That process is still being worked out. There's just a lot involved in it, in terms of, would the volunteer go back to the same assignment? So there will be a process to request exemption, just as employees have that, that available. But it's still, as I said, we've never been through this before. And so we don't have anything historically to kind of base it off of. So we're all grappling with this. But as of now, all of our volunteers who have reactivated have had the vaccine. So if anyone requests for an exemption, we're going to be presenting that before our human resources and just taking a list of names and then going from there. So still working out, but as of now, all of our volunteers are vaccinated.
Well, unless there's any other questions, Carey and Sandra, thank you so much for presenting your program to our club today. It was an excellent program. I hope we'll get some volunteers out of it for you. Rotary, as you come to learn, is a service organization. Community service is one of our 4 avenues of service. And this program at UCLA is really just very much in alignment with our mission. So I could see some of our members quite likely participating. Yes, John?
I'd be glad to talk to anyone who wants to consider volunteering. I'll give you all the ins and outs of it. They're mostly going to be ins, but anyway, glad to talk to anybody about it.
All right, well, we don't want the outs, we want the ins. So Sandra and Carey, as a thank you, as a sign of our appreciation for your presentation today, Westwood Village Rotary is making a donation in your names to the Westwood branch of the Los Angeles Library. So thank you both very, very much for a wonderful program. When we're back live, we'd love to have you guys come over. We're going to be meeting at the Luskin Center. Our first meeting was live, or in person might be a better way of putting it, will be on November 2nd. So we definitely would like the 2 of you to come and be at one of our meetings, and it'll be a lot of fun to be able to say.
That'd be wonderful. We'd love to see you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been an honor, and thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.
I love that shot behind you, Sandra, of the lake up in the, it must be up in the Sierras. It's beautiful.
Yes. I went up there for the first time this summer, and I absolutely loved it. This is a Convict Lake.
Oh, yes.
Beautiful.
I have hiked up to Convict. Yes. Very nice.
Yes, I did the 3-mile loop, and so I love this picture.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. So that's it for today. I thank Ron Leister for being today's scribe, and I thank Marcia very, very much for being my backup for Zoom and hosting. Thank you very much, Marcia. As we've said, next week we're dark. We're not going to be meeting next Thursday, but 2 weeks from now, past President Tom Barron will be our host. I'm sure it's going to be a slam banging meeting that day. So I think that's it. Everyone have a great Labor Day. It's coming up. Have a wonderful picnic, and we'll all see each other in a couple of weeks. Thank you very much for joining the meeting today.